Good morning and welcome to our morning devotion. My name is Pastor Tammy, and today I want to look with you in the book of Esther. If we first of all ground ourselves over here in Esther 4, I believe it's Esther 4, yes, Esther 4, and the bottom part of 14, where it says, "Who knows? Perhaps you were born for such a time as this." Now, I don't know what circumstances you have been born into, but Esther was born into circumstances where her mother and father died. She was raised by her cousin, yet she was destined to save the Jewish nation. She had a calling on her life. She had a purpose for why she was created. And every one of you also has a calling on your life and a purpose that God has created you for. As you go throughout your life, finding out what that purpose is and what God has created you for is a lifelong process. The process that Esther went through to find her calling in life was rigorous. She went through a lot. Um, Most of this involved sacrifice. Anytime that we desire to find what God wants for us in our lives, it's going to require us to be humble and to come before Him with that humble heart and to lean into Him to find out exactly where He is guiding and where He is leading us. Did you know throughout the entire book of Esther, God's name is not mentioned once? However, it still made it into the Bible. That's really interesting to me. But the truth of the story of Esther is that everything that Mordecai did, everything that she did, was honoring to God. I pray that each of our lives, no matter what career you have, no matter what your calling, no matter what you feel God has purposed for you to do in this life, that you will see that this time in history, during this pandemic, during this time in history, that God created you for a time such as this. What does that mean to you? Does it mean that God has created you to pray for certain people? Has He created you to speak His love to that lady in the lunchroom? Has God created you at this time in history to be someone who shares His love with marginalized community? Is this time in history that God has created you for a time where you are to teach about God's love to your children? Is this time that God has created you for, is this time a time where you will stand up and say, God, you are in control of my life. And everything that I do, whether it be terrifying, such as coming before the king for Esther, or whether it be not quite so terrifying as praying for my neighbor, I pray that as we discover who God has created us to be in this time in history, that we would find our place, that we would know that we are at the center of God's love, that He cares about each of us so intimately and so truly, and that being in this time in history, that God created you for a special purpose in being here at this time. I pray that you have a blessed week. Lean into God and find His purpose for you specifically for this week, just as Esther did when she risked embarrassment and even death for herself. Find a place where maybe it's a small risk for you to be able to honor God this week in spreading about who He is to the people that you still come in contact with in your everyday. May God bless you and guide you.